What is going on, guys? BSD Speer here, back with another Destiny 2 video. Now in this video we're going to be going over the sandbox changes that were made with the update for Curse of Osiris. So if you guys have not gotten the DLC yet, if you haven't played all the campaign missions and all that, definitely hop into it. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. As always, drop a like if you enjoy this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into Sandbox 1.1.0, the one about Curse of Osiris. There's definitely a lot of changes with this DLC. In this video specifically, though, we're going to talk about the sandbox changes. Now, sandbox changes is basically anything having to do with your character, abilities, grenades, perks, weapons. All of those things are in the sandbox changes. So we're going to talk about specifically what they changed and how it can affect the game moving forward. So first up, in the general slot, we have increases the damage dealt to bosses from super abilities, so that's definitely a good thing in PvE. Then we have adjusted the output of the recovery stats, so characters with the lowest recovery totals will start regenerating slightly faster. So if you have really low recovery, that's definitely a plus depending on what armor you're running. Next up, we have grenades. Reduced pulse grenades slightly damage, tone down intensity of camera shake and controller rumble associated with each pulse. A lot of people, that was kind of a given, we knew that was coming. Reduce the recharge rate of additional grenade charges beyond the first one. So basically, if you have a second grenade, it's going to recharge differently from the first one. Normalize the recharge rate of arc bolt, firebolt grenades to match the other grenade archetypes, so kind of bring them up to par, a little bit of a buff. And increase damage inflicted to combatants by flashbang, magnetic, suppressor, incendiary, fusion, skip, flux, arc bolt, swarm, trip mine, storm, firebolt, axion, and scatter grenades. So basically all of the grenades overall did get a buff. Alright, so next up as changes we have the class specific changes. First up we have the Titan, which actually got the most changes. Fixed an issue allowing the Titan's rally barricade ability to generate infinite ammo for certain weapon types. This is obviously referring to the Wardcliff coil glitch for infinite ammo, as well as for the merciless glitch, so they have fixed that in the game. They also fixed an issue allowing players to chain Fist of Havoc's abilities indefinitely using the trample perk, so that's definitely a plus that will no longer be an issue. They also decreased the distance traveled in the air with the shoulder charge ability when executed without a target. So if you're like me and you're Scrubby Titan and you use your shoulder charge to get around quicker or farther distance, it's going to be slightly less now. Increases the number of solar hammers that can be thrown during the duration of Hammer of Soul super ability, so got a buff there. Extended the timer for the Hammer Strike's weaken debuff by 1 second and corrected an issue that was causing the visual effects not to represent the duration properly. I actually did not know that was a thing. I don't really run Sunbreaker. Sunspot health regeneration buff now lingers for 3 seconds after moving through a sunspot, so a buff there. And the Temper, Metal, and Sol Invictus no longer trigger off combatant solar shield detonation kills. So a little bit of a nerf, maybe a bug for that one. Moving on to the Hunter changes, we have the Arcstrider dodge will now briefly break tracking, so that's an interesting change there. Base duration of Golden Gun is now the same for both paths. This is a huge one, as now it's going to allow you to shoot 6 Golden Gun shots instead of the 3, although I believe this bottom path does still do more damage than the top one. I'll have to do some more testing to find that out. Shadow Shot now suppresses targets immediately on a direct hit, which is definitely a good thing because people would kill you with that slight delay still. Shadow Shot no longer tethers dropships. That's kind of a bummer. That would be actually really interesting to see. And then increase the amount of time available to fire arrows while using the Mobius Quiver upgrade of the Shadow Shot super ability. So basically gave it a buff for the Night Stalker, Shadow Shot all around changes, and Arcstrider and Golden Gun, but Shadow Shot's been affected the most, it seems like. Alright, so last but not least, Warlock changes. So explosive rounds will no longer receive bonus damage from Empowering Rift. Heat Rises perk no longer triggers on destructible objects, so a little bit of a nerf there as well. Updated the Devour perk description to correctly indicate the ability is triggered on kills. I'm not sure what it was beforehand, but I think that's just more of a description issue. than an actual performance issue with the perk. Then we have the Nova Bomb created by the Cataclysm upgrade, maintains its initial speed for longer before slowing down. So the Slova Bomb, as some people would call it, for the Voidwalker subclass, you got a little bit of a buff there. Next, for the armor change, we have Hunter leg armor with survivalist stat package now grants recovery. I know that's a little bit annoying for squishy hunters out there, as we're striving to survive in the wild, and not having survivalist stat package with recovery was a little bit of an issue. Moving on to exotic armor, though, however, Mask of the Quiet One for Titans no longer grants energy when wearer takes damage from friendly players. Shield Bash now triggers the dreaded Visage perk on Mask of the Quiet One. Slightly increases the damage dealt by ACD Zero Feedback Fence, and that's actually a pretty good thing. Kills with the Fury Conductor's perk on the feedback fence now show correct icon in the kill feed, so just a UI fix for that one. Adjusted the grenade recharge granted by Starfire Protocol to compensate for the global decrease in the second grenade recharge rate. Improved ready and stow speeds on Peacekeepers for the Titans. Added an additional perk to Lucky Pants that loads a single bullet to the chamber of a stowed hand cannon whenever the player scores a precision hit with any weapon. It's definitely a good thing. I know Lucky Pants weren't that great for hunters. Karnstein armlets got a huge buff. Basically, they reworked it in two ways. One, on a melee hit, armlets now provide heightened mobility and recovery and highlight low health targets. Also, scoring a melee kill will immediately restore a significant amount of your health. So huge buff there for the Warlock. Definitely going to look forward to trying that out. And also, they fixed an issue with the Dune Marchers where your linear actuators perk was not being triggered consistently. We've got a bunch of weapon changes here to go over. So basically, they increased the base damage and reduced the precision modifier of precision auto rifles, that archetype in general. Then we have slightly reduced the aim deflection of high caliber rounds on auto rifles and scouts. So they're starting to differentiate high caliber rounds between weapons. Reduce the effectiveness of aim assist at higher ranges on scout rifles. Reduce severity of recoil on high impact auto rifles. Hand cannon accuracy recovery now scales with the rate of fire. Improved base aim assist on aggressive hand cannons. Slightly increased the rate of fire time between bursts on all Amalon sidearms. It's going to be interesting to see. I know Last Hope is really destroying it in the Crucible right now. Slightly increased impact damage on lightweight single shot grenade launchers, so that's definitely pretty cool. Grenade launchers got a bit of a buff. Fixed an issue with the Tireless Blade Sword perk where players could sometimes get sword ammo from an unpowered sword attack. Fixed an issue where the infant would drain ammo when yarding in a healing rift. The Relentless Strikes sword perk no longer returns ammo on heavy attacks. When comparing sniper rifle stats, the UI correctly updates for maximum magazine values. Fix an issue with Ambitious Assassin to make it more consistent. So definitely a lot of changes being made to the weapon systems for Destiny 2 and Curse of Osiris. Last but not least, we have two exotic weapons. So obviously Fighting Lion did get a buff, increases the damage, and changed the Thin the Herd perk now to grant bonus ammo rather than pulling ammo from the player inventory. So that's actually pretty cool. Fighting Lion might actually stand a chance in the Crucible now. Also, we have shooting destructible objects with Graviton Lance, Sunshot, Merciless, Sturm, and Drain no longer trigger the exotic weapon perks to be active. Also fixed an issue with Darcy's Target Acquired perk to make it more consistent. So that's definitely a plus for Darcy right there. So like I said, this is just the sandbox changes. This is not going over changes in the economy or the Season 2 engrams or raid changes or any of that stuff. This is just talking about the sandbox update. And the reason I wanted to make this video was this is all information we did not have prior to the release of Curse of Osiris. So as always, guys, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, if it helps you out at all, if you learned something at least from watching this video, and thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm BSD Speer, and I'm out.